All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA off-season video. In this video, we are going to be talking about Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors and the domino effect that the LeBron James signing to the 76ers has caused for the Warriors, for Steph Curry, for Coach Steve Kerr, for the front office, and of course Draymond Green as well. We're going to break it all down, talk about it, and just get my raw opinions on this because I do have a lot of opinions on this. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So yes, as a lot of NBA history does over the last 20 years or so, it all leads back to LeBron James. LeBron James was thought, and I thought, that he might come to the Bay Area. He might come to the Warriors and team up with his good buddy Draymond Green, somebody he just played with in the Olympics, and Steph Curry. Played in a couple All-Star games with Steph Curry as well. Play under Steve Kerr, who's a very relaxed coach. Not a lot of pressure to have LeBron play that much, you know. And I thought some other things off the court lined up well for LeBron to be a Golden State Warrior. That did not happen though. LeBron is in Philly, and the Warriors are now left high and dry with nothing, essentially nothing. They've made no moves this offseason. They re-signed Draymond Green a week after LeBron signed with the Sixers. Draymond Green agrees to a one-year, $27 million deal. Early in the offseason, they re-signed DeAnthony Melton on a two-year deal, player option on the second year. And those are their two offseason acquisitions. Also, they made some moves around the edges in the draft. They bring in Yaxel Lenenborg. They also brought in Charles Bassey. LJ Cryer, who had a very good summer league, is also still on this team. They have the likes of Will Richard, who I really liked last season. Brandon Podziemski. You catch Pods on the right night, he's okay. But he's a joke on the internet at this point. You are dealing with an injured Moses Moody, who's going to be out for, I guess, the foreseeable future. Jimmy Butler, who's just getting back to on-court activities, so it's still going to be a while till he gets back and actually suits up for this team. You bring back Kristaps Porzingis. You bring back Al Horford. And that's your team for the most part. And a lot of these names, there's a huge discrepancy between the ages. So the young guys that I mentioned, Moody, Yaxel, Brandon Podziemski, Guy Santos, Charles Bassey, Will Richard, LJ Cryer, they're all in their mid-20s. Early to mid-20s, right? And then you have the likes of Steph Curry, 38 years old, Jimmy Butler, 37, Kristaps Porzingis, 31, Horford, 40, DeAnthony Melton on the other side of 20, Draymond Green, 36. So there's a huge discrepancy in the age. And after the LeBron thing fell through, because the Warriors didn't make certain moves, it came out that the Warriors are now focused on the future, and they're not so much focused on competing with Steph Curry. And I will say here at the top, I'm a big Steph Curry fan. Steph Curry's the greatest point guard of all time. Argue with a wall. I think he's the best. Is he in the best of all time conversation? Probably not. He changed the game though, and I think that earns him a lot of clout, at least for me. What does this mean in short for the Warriors? Well, it means what it says in black and white when you read it on your screen, when you read it on a magazine or something. It means this era is over. And it was, what was it, the season before they won the championship in 2021, 2022, a lot of the people on ESPN, a lot of the talking heads said Steph Curry's never going to win another championship. We're never going to see Steph Curry in another finals. And then the following year, 2021, 2022, they go to the finals, they win, they beat the Boston Celtics, and Steph Curry gets another ring. And all seems right in the world. It seems they're poised to at least win one more after this one. And then we can go through the whole rabbit hole of what happened in the summer of 22, things that happened, domino effect down to this year. And what it means for the Warriors is this era is over. And everybody, including the coach Steve Kerr, 2027, 2028, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, This is their last year with the team officially, on paper. Steph Curry and the Warriors are looking to negotiate to sign an extension, to extend his time in Golden State. But as of right now, as of the recording of this video, as of this summer, um, this is it. This year will be the final ride for what is one of the most revolutionary teams in basketball. And the thing that's been floating around is have the Warriors failed Steph Curry? I think you can look back to the summer of since the summer of 2022 and say yes. I think they have failed him in a way. I'm always going to commend teams, and I've said this a bunch of times on this channel, for just going for it. You know, it's better to go for something than just sit on your hands and do nothing. You know, you have teams like, a lot of these are going to be Kevin Durant teams, but you have teams like the Kevin Durant Suns where you didn't sit on your hands. You had Devin Booker. You had a finals run team. You're like, well, let's go get Kevin Durant. It'll be fine. That doesn't work out. But then you have teams like the LeBron James-led Lakers in 2020 where it's like, we have LeBron, let's go get Anthony Davis, and we're going to go win a championship. And they go win a championship. Sometimes these moves, they make sense, and sometimes they don't. And in basketball, I feel like the person who's making these decisions sometimes is a little sheepish. There are GMs like Daryl Morey, doesn't have a job right now. There are GMs like Bob Myers. There are GMs like, I'm trying to think of another GM, Leon Rose of the Knicks, who all operate under different ways. They do things differently. And sometimes they build through the draft, sometimes they collect all their assets and they go in for a big push. There are different ways to build a team. The way that the Warriors have managed to build teams, especially that last one, that 2021-2022 team that won the championship, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was an anomaly upon an anomaly upon an anomaly. It just wasn't supposed to happen. And I look at this Warriors front office and I look at it post Bob Myers. Bob Myers, the architect of the Draymond Green, Steph Curry, even the Kevin Durant move, keeping Andre Iguodala for as long as they did, keeping Sean Livingston. He's the architect of all that. And after he left, you leave it to the next GM, who I'm blanking on his name, I apologize. And I said in my Summer League video, the Warriors have low-key one of the brightest futures out there, right? I like Guy Santos. I love Yaxel Lenenborg. I like LJ Cryer. Will Richards, okay. But it does pain me when I have to look at these other names on this cap sheet. Jimmy Butler, who in his prime was somebody who could lead a team to a championship. Just the finals, not win it, but to the finals. You have Steph Curry, who is an offensive juggernaut unto himself. You have Draymond Green, who in his prime could knock down a three every now and then, but played some of the best defense you've ever seen, 1 through 5. And especially for Steph Curry, because I'm a fan of his, it makes me sad. It really does. It makes me very sad to see how he's going to go out. This is it. Whether he's playing competitive basketball or not, or having a really great scoring outburst one game, there's no path in which the Warriors have now, unless they go all in for some crazy move that I'm not thinking of, that none of us are thinking of, that Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, the trio that has won so many championships together wins another one. The LeBron thing, you could also have talked me into saying, the LeBron thing never really was a championship move. It was more of like a comfort move, It was like, if at the bare minimum, it was always going to be must-see TV. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Draymond Green for other reasons, but it was going to be cinema, right? It wasn't a championship move, but I don't think it was a non-competitive move. I think it was the most competitive move you could have made. There were other things that could have made this Warriors team competitive that the front office didn't do. They didn't do enough to try to get Giannis. Reports have come out that they didn't do enough to try to get Anthony Davis. They didn't want to give up Jimmy Butler, who I maybe would have given up Jimmy Butler for Anthony Davis if it meant getting LeBron James. And now you have stuff coming out that they were offered Jaylen Brown and they just didn't want to do it for whatever reason. I'll find that tweet in a second here so I can read it to you. But there are so many moves that they haven't made that kind of make me upset. And maybe in some alternate universe they do make those moves and they still don't win a championship. But again, I rather the team go for it and say, hey, at least we did it. At least we didn't sit on our hands and just waste Steph Curry's remaining prime, you know? Because Steph Curry has maybe like 1 or 2 years left of competitive basketball, and then after that, it might really start going away from him. And that's me speaking as a fan of his. But the one move that always sticks out in my mind, that always haunts me, I think it haunts a lot of Warriors fans, it was, what was it? It was, we're in 2026 now, so it was like 2024 ish? The summer of 24, I think, where Laurie Marketing was available. He was in Utah. He had spent, I think, 1 or 2 years in Utah, and he was available. And Laurie Marketing, for those who don't know, Finnish forward slash center, can shoot a three, handle the ball. A very underrated player because he's been stuck in Utah. But um, the Warriors were sort of dead set on getting him because they felt like he fit really good with Steph Curry, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. And the only thing that held up the move for that trade to happen was the Warriors not trading Brandon Podziemski. And there can be a whole thing about Brandon Podziemski and how maybe he gets unfairly judged, and maybe he doesn't online. He said some things that people don't like, but you need that confidence as an athlete. Um, I think you do that move every time, and you say Brandon Podziemski could become Michael Jordan. He could become Jalen Brown. He could become Jason Tatum. He could become any number of like wing player. If I have Lloyd Marketing and Steph Curry, I at least feel more comfortable and confident about our team going forward. And since they didn't do the Lloyd Marketing thing, they sort of lucked into the Jimmy Butler thing. But Jimmy Butler is so old at this point, and he was playing very well when he was healthy, and then his knee goes last year, and now you're stuck back to this square where it's Steph, it's Draymond, it's Kristaps Porzingis, who that was a very good move getting Kristaps Porzingis for a guy who wasn't playing in um, Jonathan Kuminga, but at the same time, this isn't a championship team. I don't even know if this is a. This is gonna sound crazy, but I haven't done my rankings yet, so I'll say I don't even know if this is a playoff team. They might just be a playing team for the rest of eternity, which is unfortunate because that's no way to win a championship. You can't go from the play to winning a championship. That's too many games. That's too many miles. That's too much travel. That's too much extra basketball. That's unnecessary. Um, it probably can be done at some point, but it just it isn't something normal that should be done. Um, I think this Warriors team is going out very sadly, um, and it's an end of an era. It really is. You have LeBron going to the Sixers, and he said in his tweet, this is his last decision. There's no more decisions after this, and we'll see what LeBron can do in Philly. This being like the sort of final years of the Warriors is strange for me. I think it's strange for a lot of basketball fans, even if you hated them, even if you disliked the Kevin Durant move. It's very bittersweet, because often championship teams of the past, win, you don't leave the game winning a championship usually. You don't go out with a bang. It's usually a whimper. It's usually like a sad departure from how far away you were from a championship these past couple years. And for Steph, I think it's the most painful because Steph Curry still has a lot of great basketball left in him. Like I said, he has 1 to 2, maybe 3-ish years of really good basketball left. And then if things start changing around him, like Steve Kerr's not there, Draymond Green isn't there, then maybe that's when you really start thinking it's time to pack it up. I think it's smart for the Warriors to keep these guys around, keep at least the nucleus around, at least for a little bit longer. But to me, this isn't a championship team. Even if Jimmy Butler comes back 80% of himself of what he used to be, this isn't it. Jimmy Butler just refuses to shoot threes anymore. He's sort of a limited player at this point. You never know what you're going to get from Kristaps. Um, I have a lot of hope for these young guys on this team. Yaxel Lenonborg, Guy Santos, Will Richard, LJ Cryer. I have a lot of hope for these young guys. But they simply aren't. I think maybe the only ones are Guy and Will and Moses, who are like obviously played a lot of NBA games and have been in a lot of big games and had a lot of big moments. Hell, Moses Moody's an NBA champion. Um, you look at these guys and you're like, well, they can help them win a championship. But if the other stuff around them, they're just pieces to the bigger machine. If the whole machine up top isn't great, then the little pieces don't really matter, you know? Um, as I continue this video, we will talk about possibly an out for Steph Curry. uh, if maybe one day, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, um, he could possibly move on to another team. Do I want to see that happen? No. I would hate to see that happen. It would tear me apart to see that happen because I think what's great about Steph Curry is that he's been through it for the long haul. He's been through it forever, from the really bad times of the Warriors to the really great times to now. Just monetarily, he's made the Warriors. What were they like a $10 million franchise, a multi-billion-dollar franchise, or some crazy number like that. It's been a lot of up and down, and it's been a lot of success for them. And it would kind of be weird. It'd be like, for those who remember, I doubt any of you remember. It'd be like Tony Parker going to the Hornets. Like nobody remembers Tony Parker on the Hornets. I remember it. You guys probably do. Some of you do. Let me know if you remember Tony Parker on the Charlotte Hornets down below in the comments. um, the thing I want to read here, because I pulled it up and I mentioned it earlier. The Warriors declined to trade for Jaylen Brown, believing he couldn't lead the franchise after Steph Curry retires. See, I think this is where the disconnect is, and this is from Logan Murdoch from The Ringer. This is where the disconnect is. Where, guys, if I'm talking to the front office, right? Guys, I don't freaking care if it's for the future of the franchise. Granted, maybe you would have to give up that pick that became Yaxel to get Jaylen Brown, but I don't care about the future. If it's Steph Curry, Jaylen Brown, and Draymond Green and Kristaps, I feel a lot better about that team than just Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Kristaps Porzingis and whoever else. I don't understand I don't understand. I understand it because they came out and said it. They said they're not focused on this era anymore. They're focused on building for the future. But this is like a once in a lifetime move. Like, you make this move, this is an incredible move. And hell, maybe if you make this Jaylen Brown move, LeBron James comes still. Who knows? But it's baffling to me that you're just gonna let somebody like Steph Curry, of Steph Curry's caliber, just, hey, you know what, Steph, we're not gonna compete. Sorry, we're worried about the future now. It's like, what? This guy gave you the best years of his life. He gave you the best year of his career, and this is how you treat him? Not great. It feels like the front office and the ownership is sort of so distant and removed from what it is to run a team. And I granted, the Warriors have made some good moves on the edges from time to time, here and there. The Warriors have drafted fairly well over the past couple years. It's just not. It's a franchise that doesn't deserve a player like Steph Curry if they aren't going to compete. And hey, if Steph Curry comes out and says, I'm fine with not competing, I just want to play basketball and live in the Bay Area still, and still use what youth I have left to play basketball and be at least good, be an all-star, be an all-NBA player, cool, fine. I'm fine with that. But from an outsider perspective looking in on it, it's very depressing to see, we'll use the term, an old dog, just limping along, that you're not helping it. The old dog is just gonna limp itself to the finish line. You're not gonna help it or anything. And it's like a yeah, it is like that. It's like a dog. Just the dog's gonna go any day now, but you're like, oh man, I should do something, and you don't, and that's neglectful on your part. If the Warriors have been anything over the past couple years, they've been very neglectful of Steph Curry. Let's put it that way. I don't think they failed Steph Curry. I think they've been very neglectful. It's like a middle child or something. When obviously Steph Curry's the first child. He was the first child. Let's see here as we end this video off, because I don't want to make this one too long, because we will talk about the Warriors in full after they finish their offseason. Maybe they can make a couple more moves here and there in my rankings for next year. So looking at teams that Steph Curry could possibly go to. This isn't me not looking at any picks, any, whatever. This is just me going off, do I think he would fit on this team? Going for the West first. Oklahoma, no need to go to Oklahoma. San Antonio is one I saw thrown around. I think in any San Antonio deal, if I'm the Warriors, I would want Dylan Harper. I just want Dylan Harper. Give me whoever else you want to make the money work and give me some picks, and I'll give you Steph Curry. That's what I would do. The Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets is another team I need to make a video on because they are landlocked right now. They are in hell if it doesn't go right this year. And going right is winning a championship. You can't just be the 3 seed again. It has to go completely right for them. Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry. I like that. I just don't know how you make that work. And even if the Nuggets can make that work, that might be a 3-team deal. Um, the Los Angeles Lakers, no. Houston Rockets, no. Minnesota, no? Question mark? No, that's too many bad. You can't have Melo and Steph in the backcourt together. No, you can't do that. Portland, they already got too many guards. I heard that Drew Holiday might get bought out by them. Interesting. Phoenix. Phoenix now. Hmm. Maybe. Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Dylan Brooks. It obviously would be Jalen Green. Maybe Jalen Green. No, because Booker can't. Booker could play the 3, but you don't want to play the 3. Dylan Brooks, maybe. Pin that one. I like that one. Clippers, no. New Orleans, no. Dallas, no, because that'd just be like Steph Curry for Kyrie Irving straight up, and that doesn't do anything for either of those teams. Memphis Grizzlies, no. Sacramento Kings, no. Utah Jazz, no. So the 3 out west are San Antonio, Denver, and Phoenix, I guess. It's not a bad 3. Um, Out east, Detroit, no. Boston. Boston was another one I saw online. It would make for great cinema. It would make Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, whoever else. Oh, Paul George versus LeBron, Tyrese, Joel. That'd be kind of fire, but no, not actual basketball. No. Knicks, no. Depending on what year it is. If we're talking 2 years from now, maybe I could see the Knicks doing this. But like now, no. Cavaliers go back home to Cleveland. Maybe I could maybe see that. Pin Cleveland. I like Cleveland. Toronto, no. I think it'd be too much for Toronto to give up to try to get Steph Curry. Then again, it might be the same thing for Cleveland. But Atlanta, Atlanta could be interesting. That could be very interesting. I mean, they just did get rid of Trey Young, who's sort of Steph Curry light, but maybe you think Steph Curry with defenders like Nikhil Alexander Walker, with Dyson Daniels, with a bunch of with Jalen Johnson. I like that a lot. So yeah, pin that. Cavs in Atlanta, Philly, obviously no. That'd be like a super team up. Orlando, no. I feel like that's too clogged. Charlotte, go home to Charlotte, where his father played. Steph Curry's father, Del Curry. No. If it's like a retirement tour thing, if it's like he's just gonna play 1 year, it doesn't matter, maybe. But no. Miami's the other one I saw. Miami would be fun. I don't know if Miami has the physical the facilities to make that move though. That I don't think they can do that. At least this year. Maybe next year when some of their picks come unlocked or whatever. Maybe, but I'm gonna say yes just for the cinema of it. Just the same thing with like Boston, but the cinema of it for Miami would be cool. Milwaukee, no, no. Chicago, Chicago might be. Maybe. 'Cause they got Josh Giddey who sets people up. They got Montes Buzelis. They got Wilson, Caleb Wilson. I'm thinking. It's percolating in my brain. I can feel it. I can feel it percolating. Brooklyn, no. Indiana, no. Wizards, no. So that leaves, what is it? One, two, three. 3 teams out east and 3 teams. So it's only 6 teams that could really, in my mind, that fits right with Steph Curry. But then we dive into the logistics of it and like, do they have the picks? Do they have the contracts to match up? That's a whole conversation for a different day. But like I said, I don't want that to happen. I think Steph Curry being with one team for his entire career would be amazing. Even though I think the franchise drives him and drives a lot of the fans crazy. There's been a lot of good memories in that place, and by that place I mean just the memories of the groups and the people that have worn a Warriors jersey alongside Steph Curry. I think has been phenomenal and has been great for basketball. Um, yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about right now because we can dive into the Warriors a bit more when we do our preseason stuff, which will come up here in a couple, yeah, I guess a couple weeks, a month from now. Yeah, a month from now. So yeah, that's it. I have nothing else really to say. Just makes me kind of sad that this whole thing it's effectively over. As of right now, it's over. And I feel like I've said that a bunch of times with the Warriors, but this Warriors thing is over. And the day that Steph Curry retires, it's gonna be very weird to see that whole Warriors team run out and Steph Curry not be one of them. It's gonna be very strange. Um, and the last thing I want to leave this on, because I wanted to say it, but I shouldn't have. I know I should have, but Draymond Green sort of ruined this Warriors post 2022 run. There should have been one more championship in here, and Draymond Green sort of ruined all of it, and we'll talk about that more at some point. But I think for me, that brings me comfort that maybe it wasn't the front office. Maybe the front office has done the best that they could with what they had. Maybe it hasn't been Steve Kerr who's been sort of lackadaisical these last couple years with the coaching. Maybe it's not going for it. Maybe it's just Draymond Green who messed it up all in 2022. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the flashpoint. And if that doesn't happen, we're in a completely different universe right now. But we are in this universe, and we do have to deal with the outcome of this. And the outcome, I hope, will be good. But at the same time, we know how this goes. So, yeah, that's it. That's the video. Check out the video on the left. I don't know what it is. It'll be something fun. I'm sure you will enjoy. Check out the playlist on the right. Click my little icon in the bottom middle of the screen. A little subscribe button will pop up, and you can subscribe with ease. And over the next couple days, maybe this weekend too, we'll do some more WNBA stuff. I'm talking about some stuff that's been happening. But for right now, I think unless something crazy happens, the NBA stuff is going to be a bit slower to come out. I'll try to make some more, not long form content, but more in depth content for you guys. I know I've been doing sort of these reactions recently, but you guys will get a bunch of stuff regardless of what you like on this channel. Like and comment as well, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.